Welcome to Make Pods Great Again. I'm your host, John Woolley, back for day 10,000 of the quarantine with my girl, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I had one to you and I've missed you so.
I know we had a whole day apart.
I
And
know,
uh,
it's sad.
and tonight, our extra guest, co-host, whatever the hell we're calling him these days, is Patrick Vellner. Pat, how are you?
Great, guys. How are you doing?
Good. Welcome. Welcome to the
Everybody
shit
staying
show.
safe, staying healthy?
Yeah,
Here,
no
yeah,
complaints.
yeah, trying to. I mean, I actually mowed the yard today to get some extra, like just to get outside. I'm like, well, I can go mow the yard for 40 minutes, even though it doesn't really need it, but it's going to rain for a couple of days. And I want to actually get out of the house for like
Yeah.
30 minutes.
John is like the healthiest he's ever been. He's like following macros. He works out like 7 to 12 hours a day. And then he sleeps. I mean, it's like quarantine he's going to like emerge from quarantine like
Quarantine
cut.
suits you well.
It
Yeah.
It's
does.
funny. That's kind of what people say, though, is that you're either going to come out a total slob or you're going to come out in like the best shape you've ever been because you've built really good habits or you've kind of like changed your lifestyle and taken the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
make some changes that are necessary. And I think it's funny because, I mean, now is the time when you kind of need it because either way, things like eating, sleeping, because you can't really hide it by, exercising a little more or,
Right.
you're stuck at home and everybody's opening the fridge every 20 minutes. I think it definitely shows if you start to
Hashtag
lose
triggered.
that self-control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Everybody's guilty of it though, right? I
Oh,
just
it's
try to
bad.
make the accessible things something that I'm okay snacking on and being like,
Oh, dude,
anyway, making it easier for myself.
I hit the perfect window. Like I started using my Fitness Pal back in January before all this hit, and I got like really addicted to it. And then I bought a C2 bike for the house to go with the rest of the home gym. And then all of a sudden I'm locked in the house with a C2 bike and an assault bike. And like, I got all this gear and nothing to do but time. So it's like, well, I can sit on my ass and watch TV, or I can sit on a C2 bike and watch TV.
Right.
So it's,
Do you find it's loud though? You can't hear.
oh, I cranked the TV up, man.
Oh, same. Mine's got like, I think I top out too quiet. If I'm on the bike and I'm actually doing anything, then I can't really hear anything. I just didn't put like a cartoon on or something that's just bright colors. It's kind of distracting. You can infer what's going on. And then I just like, this is nice and distracting and it's cool.
Guys, I'm just trying to maintain over here. Like, I do have extra time for the fitness, which is lovely, but I have baked so many loaves of bread. Like, it's a balancing act.
When you say loaves of bread, is that like whole grain bread or is it like banana bread?
Oh, no, it's like bread. Like
Really? Why everybody getting into baking bread? I just like, I don't get it.
I mean, it's like a thing that I have wanted to do for a while because like my husband grew up like basically on a farm in the middle of nowhere with like
Right.
homemade bread every other day or whatever. So it's like the kind of thing that I wanted to try to do.
Right.
And you have to sort of be around to babysit a sourdough starter. This was
Right.
bread talk with Nikki.
Get that yeast going.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta
And
grow your yeast.
dude, I fucking failed sourdough 3 times. And then today was the first time, y'all. I did it. It happened.
Oh, congratulations.
Got it right?
I got it right. It feels amazing. Feels like a huge accomplishment.
I feel like when I'm baking, like we bought a bunch of fruit a while back and it was like, made the mistake of buying like pears that are like not good until they're good.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're good for like 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like
avocados.
how am I going to eat all these pears? So we like they were starting to go bad. So we made a big, like basically a pear cake, like a huge tray. And it's just 2 of us that live here. So now we're just eating cake every day.
Cake for breakfast is the quarantine way.
Oh yeah. I'll have a coffee and a cake. And then, I'll leave, do something, come back for the afternoon, have another coffee and a cake, maybe have some cake after dinner.
You're living your best life.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. No competitions on the horizon, so it's good. I've been a slob for a little. I'll yo-yo a little bit, and then I'll give myself a serious talking to, and then I'll get back on track, and then we bake another cake.
Right.
Like,
yep. And that's the way it goes.
The faster I eat it, the faster it's gone. So then I'm eating it like every meal.
Yep.
And then
Dude,
yeah.
You're gonna he's gonna roll into a Romus looking like George Foreman.
Yeah.
Great.
What's funny is I feel like everyone listening can relate to that so hard.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing. And I mean I don't have a suite. I think sounds like John's got a better home gym setup than I do. But we get by, do some exercise every day and run the dogs, like run on the trails every now and then. Like we have lots of mountain bike trails around. They're usually empty now. So
Dude,
I
my
love
home
running
gym
trails.
is so good. I actually do guilt workouts. I feel so guilty that other people are like doing nothing but burpees every day. I'm like, I got to go down there and hit the barbell because I've got one, or
Yeah.
the assault bike or whatever it is. It's like, I just feel guilty. I feel bad for people. Like,
What do you have, Pat?
Well, like I can change things out. We don't still have space because I live on a second floor apartment, and so like I can't have any weight, and I can't like drop things. So I basically have like lightish kettlebells, dumbbells. I have like a loadable one I can put to whatever, and then I have some space I can put ergs in, but I can't have everything here. So I've had the biker at home for a while just because my partner wanted to have it here so she could bike, because she's kind of got a knee injury right now, and then. Like I on the weekend, I went in and I swapped out and I grabbed a rower and an assault bike for a little bit, just to like do something different for a couple days. So just kind of swapping things in and out, but I have like dumbbells and bands and an erg. Like that's pretty much it. I do a ton of unilateral, like Bulgarian, like stupid strike stuff that sucks. Like tons of tempo, everything. And like, it's hard. Like you can make it hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And it's boring, but I think that to be really good at anything, you've kind of got to be okay doing boring stuff repetitively. So it's kind of like, this is just paying up for all that other shit. To do the fun stuff, you've got to do the boring stuff. So like today I did like a 40-minute EMOM of just rowing and assault biking. Like row 18 calories, bike 16 calories, row 18 calories, bike 16 calories.
For 40 minutes?
Yeah, for 40 minutes. Yeah.
Oh my God, I would
So
throw
that sucks.
up.
And it was really boring, but it's fine. It's fitness. Like it'll get you fit.
Yeah.
So,
super fit.
anyway.
That's probably exactly what I need after the brioche.
Yeah. And then I came home and ate cake.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I walked in the door and ate some cake.
See,
you deserve it.
That's not how I bike. I just sit on it and just pedal like an old lady. Put Bean on the front. We just sit there and watch TV together. It's great.
Bean in a basket on the front.
Yep. Little basket. We got a little bell. Jing, 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 jing. It's great. So much fun.
It's been nice. My coach Michelle Latondre does like she'll just program all the stuff for me according to what we have and what we need, and I'll grab whatever I need for the week. But so she's not making it easy on me for sure. It's not a holiday, but I think it's a chance to do other things, like doing a lot of stability work and like core work and things and like rehab stuff that I kind of need to do. That's easy to ignore when you're constantly looking down the barrel of another competition. So it's just been a good chance to kind of like regroup. But it's starting to get old, I will say. A month in, I'm starting to resent it a little bit and run out of juice. But
what else is going on? How's that quarantine life overall?
I mean, it's here. So I'm on Vancouver Island, like on the west coast, like very coast. And like it's summer here basically now.
Nice.
So it's a tease, right? You're kind of not supposed to be making frivolous trips out into public, but it's sort of like everybody really wants to find any excuse they can to get outside. Yeah. So you can see everybody kind of like trying to skirt the rules a little bit and get outside but stay far apart. And a lot of the public spaces have been closed. Anywhere that can be is locked, and they just kind of like are chasing people out. But there's a lot of trails and there's tons of mountains and hikes around here, so we're trying to get out and hike a little bit more and just do stuff like that. It's been kind of a nice change of pace for us because we like to do some of that stuff outside, but a lot of times I try to be a good little athlete and like not conflict with my training too much. So sometimes I'll do a lot of whatever in the day, and then you come home and it's like, hey, do you want to go for a hike? It's like a 4-hour hike, and I'm like, nah. I'm good. I don't really want to, but now I can it doesn't matter. I can add it in and it's fine. And it's good. So it's been fun to do something a little different and have a little more freedom and just feel a little less stressed about training, because there's, again, like nothing that's, really going to go on right away. So it's been good, but it's tough. It's so summery, and we're in a small apartment, but we've been house shopping right now, trying to get into a place for like either early June, or our lease is up here at the end of May. So if we can get into a place in June or July, we want to like have somewhere with some good outdoor space just so we can enjoy it. Because here we have like one small deck and like no real yard. So it's just, you look outside at the sunshine all day and you're like, God. So we want to have some room to exist outside and enjoy the summer if we're going to have to stay home. Yeah. So that's kind of the plan right now. It's been a lot of like all of our free time has been kind of sopped into house shopping and like looking at real estate and trying to go see homes, which is a bit weird. Everything's sort of operating a little differently than it normally would right now. So it's I don't know. It's been interesting, and frustrating at times. But anyways, life experiences. We're growing up. We're trying to adult.
Adulting is so hard.
Sucks.
Oh my
I'm
God.
starting to think it's not worth it.
No. Let's just go back to like snack time and nap time and crayons.
God, I do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, that's basically what we're doing now, just no crayons.
That's true. We should definitely wear crayons into quarantine for sure.
Oh, Michelle paints now too. Here, Michelle, my fiance, Michelle, my coach and my fiance have the same name, so sometimes confusing.
Right.
But fiance Michelle, she does like watercolors now in her free time sometimes. So our office is all covered in paint, and it's just I got to get into it. I'm more of like a paint by numbers guy, I think, though. But that's the thing. Any kind of project. It's amazing how many people, when you drive around, we're looking at people doing their home renos or DIY projects, because it's just like, why not? You got all the time now, and people just go to Home Hardware, like Jonah or something, and pick up everything they need. And everybody's out on their lawn doing some sort of project, like building planters or building something.
Dude, we built a trellis in the garden last weekend. I mean, it's still basically winter here, which is fucking sucks. It's the worst. We've had like, and I know like spring showers, blah, 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 but like we've had one sunny day in the last 2 weeks, and every day it's like 40 and raining.
Yeah.
Pain in my ass.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like here we're lucky. Like at least if you want to get out and, go somewhere and still stay away from people and be responsible, like you can be outside, or if you have a yard with a deck or anything like that, like you can just go sit outside and it's actually nice. So it's been a huge lifesaver that we're not like, you're not still dealing with the seasonal depression as well as being stuck inside.
Yeah, you're really helping me out here, man.
You're not getting that 1-2 punch over here.
Yeah,
so we're on the outside of it.
Appreciate that.
Hey, you're making bread. You're doing fine.
It's true. That's why I'm stuck inside.
Bread, you're building trellises.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're killing
New
it.
England.
What you do in New England?
That's what you
I
do.
built a guitar. That was my project. I built a guitar a week ago.
No way.
I did.
From scratch?
No, I ripped out all the electronics and redid the electronics.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay. Like I thought you meant like you did the wood, like you like.
No. I don't have
the framing and stuff like that. I was like,
no.
I thought you meant that you had like an empty tissue box and then like some paper towel rolls. And
I started growing a tree 25 years ago, and I just cut it down.
Yeah.
No, I've always wanted to, rebuild guitar. I mean, I play guitar obviously, and so I've wanted to rebuild one, and so I just bought an old guitar and ripped out the electronics and rewired it. It sounds great. Very excited about it.
That's
sweet. Got nothing but time, man. Like nothing but time. So that's what you do. So Pat, I got like a ton of questions here for you. I just like for shits and giggles this morning, I put in my story like questions from fans, and your fans mine, because if they were my fans, it would just be my mom wanting to know why I don't come home enough.
Hey, mine too. Don't worry about that.
And might be Nikki's mom too. We have two fans, but
no, it's my brother, because he's the only one that replies to my Instagram stories when I post questions.
So the questions were interesting. It's funny. They're like all lumped into kind of 3 segments. So there are apparently 2 things you can still make fun of people for. Whenever I do my own Q&A, I get 100 questions about being bald. For you, it was all about what sunblock do you use? So they're probably like 30 sunblock.
Classic.
I know, right?
Classic.
Like making fun of him questions, or like people legitimately they want to know for themselves. Like Pat's skin is so porcelain and beautiful.
Yeah,
I need to know what he uses.
So porcelain.
Here's the one I liked though. That there were probably 10 of this. Everyone wants to know about this twitching bicep.
Oh yeah, it's still going.
No way.
I bet you can see it if I don't know if I can get it in the light.
It's still going?
Still twitching?
Oh yeah.
How long has it been?
Today. This is the 8th day.
Whoa.
Oh, can you see it? Oh wait, it stopped. We'll see. If it goes on, sometimes it goes on a real rampage. If it starts at some point, I'll try to turn the camera onto it.
Now, your fiance is she a doctor?
Yeah, she's a doctor.
Has she given you any medical advice about this twitching bicep?
I mean, the reality of it is there's so many different things that it could be. It's not really a problem. I could try to figure it out probably, but I'm just like I can't be bothered.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny because right now, same thing. I'm just like posting this saga on my Instagram story because I think it's funny. and everybody's got a remedy, right? So I'm getting like every single remedy you could possibly imagine, some of which they make varying degrees of sense. So it's really entertaining to see what some people think will work.
Like, what are some of the crazy ones?
Well, it's kind of funny. Like, part of it, some of them are like very just like, I don't even know, these remedies of like whatever, wives' tale remedies, but some of them are kind of like they make sense. Like physiologically, it's like things that have to do with muscle tissue, but it sort of makes me sad because it makes me feel like people think I'm really stupid.
Oh, like he really needs help.
But it's like, it's not that simple. So it's kind of funny. We ended up with like, everything from like, you're just low on magnesium, like eat a banana, like eat sunflower seeds, have a cold shower, have a hot shower, use a hot compress. Have you tried slapping it really hard? Like it's just like everything you can imagine, right? Like, oh, you're low on calcium, you're low on magnesium, you're low on sodium, you're dehydrated. I'm like, okay, all right, sure.
All of these things.
So anyway, it's just like a million things. And right now, frankly, my nutrition is really good. I'm eating very well. And
except all the breakfast cake.
Yeah. But yeah, and I take a lot of like vitamin supplements and things. I'm pretty sure my levels are pretty fine. I'm certainly not dehydrated. Like I eat like probably a banana every day. Like, it's just like, it's funny. It's like as if I haven't tried a lot of these things.
Right.
It's just, and I mean, like, I think I just did like a really pulling intensive workout like last Saturday, and then it started the following Sunday, and then I've just like not really given it a break. And I think it probably is just sort of like injured tissue.
Yeah.
And it's just causing this little fasciculation, and it's not painful, and it doesn't keep me up at night. So frankly, I could care less. Every morning when it happens again, I'm just like, oh, cool. And you just like, I don't even notice it until at some point it starts really going fast and hard. And you're like, oh, okay, it's still there.
How long has that been happening?
And then it's like, it doesn't bother me when I do things. It doesn't stop me from doing anything. So I just like, I'm not that worried about it. But a lot of people today and yesterday were like, it's been a week. You can be worried now. I'm like, well, I'm not.
I'm not so.
But yeah, it's fun. I got to give it a name here soon, I think, though. It's been that long that, this is the real thing. A lot of people saying I should start an Instagram page for it.
Pat's Twitchy Bicep. That's what we'll call it. Make Twitchy Biceps great again.
Like draw a face on it and see if like it'll like make faces when it twitches or something.
Oh my God. People have put a lot of time into thinking about this.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, well, they got nothing else to do.
Well, so that's true.
I appreciate that.
Recommend baking bread.
Yeah, I need a hobby, that's for sure.
Well, speaking of hobbies, there are a lot of questions about puzzles too. Apparently, you've got a big.
I was about to say that.
People are all over your puzzles. What's the latest one?
I've been taking a break. I got a little bit. I got a little down the rabbit hole on that one for a little while. We started. It was like this nice idea. My partner and I like, yeah, we'll just make some puzzles when we're home. Like, we don't really have a lot of table space in our apartment, like extra table space. It's like, dining room table. We have like one big coffee table where we'd sit by the couches, but usually it's occupied with stuff. So once we'd start a puzzle, it was like, it kind of needed to be finished and get put out of the way. So we'd kind of like, you'd start, and it wasn't like this puzzle, you put a couple pieces in, you come back to it tomorrow, you do whatever, like, and it takes you a couple weeks. So we bought like four different puzzles that were all 1,000 pieces. And then, we did a couple of them together, and they would take us like a couple days through 2-3 days. And then, and then Michelle she moved to a rotation in obstetrics where she was on 24-hour shifts. So one of the days when she was gone all day, I was just like, I'll just pull out a puzzle and put it on the dining room table, which it takes up most of the space. So once I started it, I was like, oh, you kind of got to like do some damage on this and like make some space. And then I got like most of it done like earlier in the day. And I had a friend of mine who's living in Saskatchewan, like a province over, who was talking to me about puzzles. And he's like, oh yeah, like he was showing me his progress for like 3 days. And I was like, buddy, you're a joke. Like I did that much in like one morning.
Oh my God.
He's like, what? No way. So then I went back and I finished it in the evening. I did it in like 2 sittings, did it in one day, 1,000 pieces. And then the next puzzle, I just like started another puzzle like 2 days later, 1,000 pieces, and did it in like 7 hours. And just like, and then I was like, you need to walk away from the puzzles for a little bit.
Questions right now.
Yeah, I was like, you got a problem and you need to just like go somewhere else and do something else for a bit. So put them in the box, And I haven't done any of them since. I did like 2,000 piece puzzles in 3 days, and I just like, and that was it. I was like, no, you're cut off for a little bit. You need a new hobby that's maybe slightly more productive and a little bit less crazy, where you're like staring at one thing and hurting your eyes for.
Yeah, I mean, I say this with love, but what the fuck?
I know.
Is side of you, do you think, that you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this and do the best puzzle I've ever done?
I don't know. I think that the one when my buddy was like showing me his progress, I was like, I think that kind of was it. I was like, oh dude, I could finish this in one day if I wanted to. And he's like, all right. And I was like, yeah, so I'll do it. And I did it. And then the next one, I was like, well, you finished the last one in one day, so like, how fast can you do this one? And then I just did it like faster. So I don't know. I think it was kind
puzzles,
and that's like why I had to be like, you just get away, because it was getting a little too. And there was only 2 ways to go. It was like, I either need to get another 1,000 piece puzzle and try to do it faster, or you got to jump up to like 3,000 pieces, which I don't know if we had space for. And
no, there were so many other ways to go. There were not only those 2 ways to go.
Anyway, it started being like a job and not really like this fun hobby.
Right.
I was like punching in. I'd sit down for like 3 hours and just stare at this thing. And then, yeah. So anyway.
So wait, my other question is,
for a bit.
My other question is there, since you guys don't have a ton of table space, like, are you a really anal, like, clean freak where you're like, that puzzle is still out on that table, I can't?
It's kind of funny. We go in waves where, you know, right now we're kind of not great. And it's funny because we're spending more time at home, things just get messier faster.
Yeah, just
lived in. A lot of times we don't touch a lot of the places or things, so they just stay there and things stay clean for longer. But now we're living in the space more, so things are messier. But we at least, you know, once a week do a pretty deep clean and tidy everything up. But the puzzles, like, because it commands the table space, I don't know, I would just like those puzzles, I would do them, and then like the last one I did, I just like did it, and then I kind of used it as a placemat for the next like week, and I just like I would just like put shit on top of it. And it was like, like this is like, yeah, I did this puzzle. And then, you know, it was just like it sat there, and we just
sat there
until it was finished. You couldn't do that either because there's like pieces around, but once it was done, it was a placemat. And I just like did that for a while until I was sick of looking at it, and then I just put it back in the box.
See, puzzles wouldn't fly in my house because my husband would, like, out of the corner, like, it would keep him up at night that there was like stuff out, on the table, like, that puzzle's still there, like those pieces are still out, like, we need to finish it, we need to put that shit away, like, you can't do that.
I don't even put it away, but it's definitely, I don't know, it's a little OCD, but when you're looking at all the pieces scattered around, it doesn't look nice. But when it's done, it's clean and nice. Like,
you are one of those people.
It's clean when it's done, right?
You guys are the same.
But yeah, that's exactly, like, I would just look at it and be like, yeah, you know, I could put a few more pieces in. And then I, like, you know, you look up and it's like 11 at night, and I'm like, holy shit, how long have I been doing this puzzle?
Yeah.
It was bad.
You should get one of those, like, really intricate adult coloring books. That should be your next one.
I got a lot of recommendations on that. Some people saying, my coach was like, you should get a 3D puzzle. They come with like instructions and they build up. And I was like, Michelle, that's Lego.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like, that's what, like, she's like, it's like blocks and you build up. And I don't know if she was the language thing, but no. I know there are 3D puzzles, but the way she described it with instructions and building up, I was like, yeah, that's Lego.
You could get a badass Lego kit. That's also a thing.
I actually love that too. Mm-hmm. I think I should do that.
I would do that too.
Those are like, it's kind of funny because they're just, I don't know, you pass the time and it's not super productive. I would rather have a hobby like John saying, like, he plays guitar. Like, you can play guitar, learn a new song, learn something, like play piano, like learn my older brother's does a bunch of language stuff, and he's cool. Learning more languages and like teaching his daughter Spanish, and it's just like, I don't know, you can do stuff like that has a net product, like something you kind of finish with, rather than just like, I finish with this puzzle and then I destroy it and then I put it back in the box and you've netted zero. But I don't know, I gotta find another something to fill my days.
So you say that now until you get to Aromas and Dave just pulls out puzzles for everyone.
Hey,
and I'd fuck people up. It would be fair.
That'd be amazing.
It would be so awesome.
I trained for this.
It would be like laughable.
God, that would be amazing.
Great. That would be amazing.
All right, let's see. Next question. Oh, here's a good one, because we had Travis Williams on a while back, and he was talking about the
I love
punishment.
Travis.
He was talking about the punishments you guys did there during the opens. And somebody wants to know, what was your favorite punishment? Either one that you had to do or somebody else had to do.
I haven't had to do very many.
Oh,
I had to do
casual burn.
Yes.
I had to do one. I've had to do one in like the 3 years that I've done it. It was the first workout from 2019. For rowing and wall balls.
Did you have to like put signs up or something? Was that
No,
you?
that one was no, that Travis did that one in the mall, I think.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a great one. The Sweeney, classic.
Oh, amazing.
Had out signed photos of himself in a mall. Genius. It's kind of funny because there are some that are great concepts, but they don't. You need somebody to execute it really well. So you need somebody to like buy in and be like, yeah, like I'm gonna do it and own it. So the group that we've had the last few times is great, and like everybody's, they win and lose like champions, and people will put an honest effort into whatever happens. So I think Lucas, a couple of years ago when he had to read the poem.
The poem. I was just gonna say the Lucas poem was by far the best
really
execution.
So
100%.
I had won that week and he lost, so I got to write the poem and then he had to read it. And I got talking to him like in a separate outside of the group, being like, hey, like I like have this idea of how this could go, with like a voiceover of you like lovingly reading it and writing it and whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like I got this. Like my brother's gonna help me out. We'll do it tonight. And then like he sent us the video like later, and it was just so good.
Perfect.
We wrote this whole poem out, and it has to be a minute long for it to fit in his Instagram post, or it did then before like Instagram Live or Instagram TV. And yeah, he like snuck it in, and it was with his Swiss accent. Fuck, it was just so
good.
I couldn't believe it. So that was, I think, my favorite executed punishment of all time. I'm trying to think if there's any that conceptually were really, really good. The one that's actually pretty funny was the first one that Brent did this year, which was the dirty sandwich one. Where
I was gonna say that too.
All of the winners, it was just the loser had to eat a sandwich, and that each other person had to pick one ingredient to put in it. And so Claire, Brent's wife, like made it all and like didn't tell Brent what was in it, and he was blindfolded. And so like we got in a message with Claire to tell her what to get and how to make it, whatever. But that's a pretty fun conceptual one. So it's a pretty fun thing because some of the weeks it's basically like there's one loser and everybody else is safe. And then some weeks it's like the winner does something and the loser does something. So you kind of gain by being the winner, like you have to write the poem or whatever it is. And some of them, like that one, there was one loser and then there was basically 4 winners. So it's pretty fun, and it gives just like the Open's hard and it's close. Like I think that this last year, Lucas didn't lose any weeks, but he was second last every week, I think. So and by like one rep, like one of the workouts, 2 of the workouts actually, I think by 1 second. And it was like unbelievable. We were like, dude, how are you doing this? And just like every week it was like, who's going to lose? It has to be Lucas. Like his time has run out, and it didn't happen. So it's super fun, and it just kind of is a fun way to just make the Open. It doesn't make it less stressful. It like almost makes it more stressful, but it makes it more fun. It kind of makes it a little lighter. And I think we think it gives other people kind of something else to look at in the Open. Because I think even people who aren't really competitive in the competition circuit get stressed about the Open.
Oh my God, totally.
Everyone does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be that way, really, and it probably shouldn't be. But everybody just, I don't know, whenever you're trying to test yourself, I think that there's some weight behind that, and there should be.
Yeah.
But I think that it's nice to take a step back and be like, this is kind of like, it's all gravy. Like we're not, you don't lose anything by being, especially for things like repeats, like whatever. If you didn't beat your score from the last time, like it's not the end of the world.
Totally. Yeah.
But,
and I think it's nice. It's nice for us to see like you guys, elite athletes, also having a good time with it, because it is so easy to take yourself too seriously in that respect. And like, you should, for all intents and purposes, it's your job, but like at the same time, you're right. Like it is going to be stressful and you are going to do your best no matter what. So why not have a good time with it?
Yeah, you don't need to make it worse on yourself, right?
Yeah.
But that group is great. Like that group chat kind of goes on all year round, and we're in touch with everything going on in the CrossFit world, and so we kind of chirp at everything, and it's a pretty great trash talk group.
Amazing.
And it's fun. Like everybody helps each other out. Like if the other guys are competing at events, we'll talk about the stuff going on, and we kind of like, we're all friends. We try to help each other out and be successful wherever we can. Like Travis and I were competing against each other at Wadapalooza, but leading into that, we talked about all the workouts that we got announced and like how we were doing them and whatever. And it's great. Travis is the man. Like he just like a wear his heart on his sleeve kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
And
totally.
I think he's so, what you see is what you get. Like he's just, I love him for that. And he's just like, he goes out there and he does his thing, and it's always going to be the same. And he's just going to like go nuts and send it. And it's so fun. Like I remember the first event of Wadapalooza this year was that rucksack one, loose. It was like running muscle ups with the ruck bag and air squats. And it was a lot of running. 3K of running, 150 air squats, 30 muscle ups total. So 3 kilometers is a lot of running. I think given all the other movements, you would spend more time running than you would on any other single movement by far.
Totally.
So I had an argument with Travis before that competition that it was a running workout. And as long as you can do the muscle ups with the bag and not like, that's not going to stop you dead. It's a muscle up workout. And Travis said it was an air squat workout. And I said, okay, like, how do you figure? He's like, well, like, I think that you can make up a lot of ground on the air squats. People are going to squat slow. Like if you cycle your squats fast, you'll catch people. And he was right to a certain degree. Like a lot of people did make up a lot of ground in squats on others, but like I won the workout by running faster than everybody else. Like I had Adrian Mundweiler and Cole pushing me pretty much at the end, and they were squatting faster than I was, but I had a huge buffer. And it was like, at the end of it, I was like, Trav, like it was clearly a running workout. And he, at the start, when we were on the start mat, he's in the lane right next to me. And he's like, it's like the standby call. We have like 10 seconds. And he looks over me. He's like, man, I'm about to run the fastest 200 you've ever seen. And because he was in the closest lane to the exit. So he's basically the leader, like in the pole position. And he absolutely flew out of the gate.
Like he does.
Like, yeah, for a guy who was like, this isn't a running workout, like ran so fast. And I'm a better runner than Travis, and I can like barely keep up with him. And I ended up like, by the time we got back into the stadium, I had just passed him. And I run in and like throw a little chalk on, and he just jumps right up on the rings, does his 10, starts ripping squats out. Like I think he finished the first round in first, like by a little ways. I was a little bit behind him. And then like I very swiftly passed him in the run in the second round. And it was like he just absolutely mangled himself in round 1. But by the end of it, he actually caught a bunch of guys in the last round on the squats. So, it was a good strategy for him, I think, as a guy who's not a runner, to rely on his squat speed. But it's just funny, right? Like, and he totally like that. He just told me that's what he was going to do. And it's like, I'm just going to try to squat really fast. Oh yeah, by the way, and I'm also going to run super fast for 200 meters. And you're like, okay, I don't think that's going to work, Travis. And he's like, it's too late. He's already gone and he's on his way.
And he's not listening anyway.
I love it. Yeah. And he'll never, it's so great. The Trash Talk group actually is amazing because every year we talk about it. And I think every time a workout comes out, we'll kind of discuss it, because in the open, it doesn't really matter anymore.
Right.
Like I would love if everybody in that group was in the top 10 and got to qualify that way. But so we try to help each other out. And, the bet we have is only for the first attempt. It's like a gentleman's bet that like your first crack at it is the only one that counts. And then after that, if you have to redo it for your placing in the leaderboard, like, fuck yeah, I do it. And I'll help you. I'll do whatever I can. But for the bet, it's only your first try. So we always try to help each other out. And Travis is very unhelpful in his approach most of the time. Because he's like, oh, well, you just have to go as fast as you can right from the start. He's like, oh, you do this whole thing unbroken for sure. Like you do this and that. And it's just, it's like a broken record. It's the same strategy for every single workout, regardless of time domain, regardless of movements. It's just like fast and unbroken, hard in the middle, hard at the beginning, hard at the end. Like it doesn't matter. And it's so awesome. And we always, like Brent and I are like, every time we're kind of like, hey, I really don't think that's it. And and
he's like, no, for sure. It always works. It always works.
I would say to his credit, there's probably one workout every year in the Open that he just pulls it off.
Oh, totally.
And
Yeah.
he goes like so hard that if you watch the video, he'll like share his video with us and we're like, you are going to die. And he somehow hangs on, like barely clawing for the last bit, and then makes it out and has a great, like a top 20 score. And we're like, hey, wow, like how did she do that?
Yeah. I mean, all of Wodapalooza, he was in the top spots throughout the entire. I mean, he's just great.
Fit.
Yeah.
The guy's super fit, and so he just like sometimes like when the workouts are a certain way, like that is a real thing that like you can come out really hot and then just hang on, and that's how he approaches everything. And like I would rather, save the hurt for the last 30 seconds when I really have to push, and be at more of a controlled slow burn for the rest of it. Whereas Travis will, like, in a 10-minute workout, he will be so deep in the pain cave at like 5 minutes and then just exist like that for 5 more minutes. And he just is like okay with that and knows how to do it. And I don't want that.
I think it's a skill that like not a lot of people have.
For sure. So it's
like I don't
so
want
funny.
it, but I couldn't do it either.
Oh, he can just hit the switch. And so it happens all the time or like once an Open probably where, it's usually Brent and I being like, Travis, you're an idiot. Don't do that. Or like, nobody listen to Travis. He's being stupid. And then he'll like come back, an hour later with his score. And we're like, whoa, that's a really good score. What did you do? And he's like, I freaking did exactly what I said. And we're like, how did that work? Like, no way. How did that work? And he'll send the video and we're like, what the hell? Like a great example was the first workout this year, the ground to overhead and the burpees over bar.
Oh my God.
10 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
So Travis was just like, his whole approach, this was amazing. I hope he doesn't mind me telling the story, but he's like, we were talking about it. I think nobody had really done it yet. But, we watched the announcement when Scott and Rich did it and we were like, okay, if you're like, how you got to do your burpees in a way that you're like efficient, but you can still move pretty fast. And, I think a lot of people will muscle snatch to save their lungs. And, Travis is like, he's like, I think that you just go as fast as you can for 5 rounds. And then your last 5, I think no matter how tired you are, you can have a foot in the grave and you're not going to go slower than around a minute. And we're like, I don't think that's right. We're just like, that doesn't sound right to me. I like paced out some rounds and I'm like, I think if you can do like a 45-second round all the way through, you get a really good score. And that's how I would look at it, is consistency over those rounds. And then maybe in your 9th and 10th round, you can like push the pace and make up a little time if you've decayed. Whereas Travis is like, no, forget that. I'm going to go 40-second rounds or sub 40 rounds and do that for 5 rounds. And then I'm going to do 1-minute rounds and do that for 5 rounds. And he did that. And we were like, we were like, that's never going to work. Like you think that you're going to do that, but you're going to start standing around in your burpees. And he comes back and he has like a 9-minute even time or something like that. And we're like, wow, that's like legit. What did you do? He's like, dude, I did 5 rounds as fast as I possibly could. And then I did 5 rounds at like a 1-minute pace. And I just kept my eye on the clock and I did 1-minute rounds. And so he basically bought himself a full minute in those first 5 and was like messed up. But just like, he was right. Even as messed up as he was, he could hold on to a minute pace and just did it till the end. And it was like so shocked and appalled. We're like, how did that work? Like, what? And I think that workout in our group, he finished. I was first in that workout of the 5 of us, and he was second. He just like smashed everybody else with his like completely irresponsible, reckless approach, which is like, we were like, it was so awesome. So he regularly does that, and it's pretty awesome. And I would say, yeah, at least once an Open, we all tell him he's an idiot and that will never work, and then we eat our words, because he comes back and he's like, no, it worked fine. The wall ball rowing one, like a couple of years ago, he's like, God. I'm gonna row like 1600, and we're like, all right,
okay,
die. And then he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna do that for like this many rounds, and then I'm gonna come back to this pace. And we're like, all right, that's weird. Like, why would you do that? And then he did it, and he like, I think same thing. He beat I think Brent beat him, and then he was second. And I was just like, how did you do that?
It's like his shitty approach works just enough for him to be like, no, work that time, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, and then he gets that taste of success, so he keeps going. I love
that. Totally.
And that's the thing. He'll always tell you exactly what he's gonna do, and he's never lying. He will always do it. Whereas sometimes we'll mess with people and play a little psychological warfare out there, but Travis is so genuine, it will never happen. He will fully tell you. It's like, we did that rowing workout at Wadapalooza, and everyone's trying to figure out how fast you should row. He's like, well, I figure you just start at like 135, and then when you slow down, you just slow down. We're like, what? No. And then he came like second. I was like,
he's like the hero we didn't know we needed.
I know,
like
it's
the
awesome.
average CrossFitter who just got really, really good and was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ham. Yeah,
he totally
sounds
is.
good.
And actually, on that note, like his story is awesome, right? Like he was a guy who just walked into a CrossFit gym and needed to make the lifestyle change, and then became like one of the best in the world. Right? It's just like, if that's not a success story, like CrossFit should be pushing that.
Totally.
Like it's sweet. He's got quite a success story, and I love him. He's awesome.
I appreciate people who are like unabashedly themselves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
He's so genuine. It hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
All right.
But,
so,
all
right, change of question. So you knew you'd get this one. So it's about a dozen questions on here about Castro. So before we get into that, though, that Castro's a licensed minister, right? He could marry you.
Yeah, but I mean on Zoom or something like that.
Yeah. Talk to the missus. Tell her Dave Castro could officiate the wedding.
Yeah, I'm sure she wouldn't be interested in that.
No, they're going to plan a beautiful post-quarantine wedding. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be better than it ever was going to be.
I wonder what Dave would say if I asked. If he would consider it.
Do it at Aromas. Get married on the ranch.
Oh God, no! See, Michelle would murder me if I tried to pull some shit like that.
Yeah, no.
It would be immediately no.
I don't recommend.
Told me that years ago, like about proposing or anything. Is like, if we ever do anything like that, even near a CrossFit event, I'm gonna say no. And I was like, all right,
going to say no.
And fair enough. Like I know we have like kind of two different lives, right? So we don't need to mix that stuff together. But
were you guys at the wedding? Because there was a wedding at Games 2016, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we were there.
Yeah.
I think that when that happened, we were taking the floor next, I think. So
I think you were too.
Warm-up area.
Yeah.
I remember like hearing about it and seeing pictures of it and stuff, but it
was very strange.
Like an intermission kind of thing, and you weren't out there. My family might have been in the stands, but I have no idea. I remember seeing it though, and that was a great year for that to happen because Dave had his cornrows.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, those are so sweet.
A magic year.
How do you beat that? That was a great year. We had it was like this Saturday morning. I forget when he got his cornrows, but like the day before, he just had the long hair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it was the morning we did Murph. Everybody showed up, and we did Murph early so we wouldn't have heat problems. And everybody kind of showed up, and we hadn't seen Dave yet that day, and we're all like ready to go out on the soccer field. We're like underneath the tunnel, and Dave comes to give like this final brief, and just like walks up, starts talking, does his thing, and then like leaves, and we're all kind of looking at each other like, like, does Dave have cornrows? Like, are we going to talk about this?
Did no one say anything? I saw him from the opposite side of the soccer stadium that morning, like hadn't seen him yet that day. And I had no idea what was going on, and everyone was setting up for later. So like the DJ was setting up and the equipment was being rolled out, and he was like kind of like down near where all the music equipment was being loaded in. And he just had big sunglasses on and his cornrows. And I was like, is Sean Paul here?
Oh, so
did CrossFit get Sean Paul to do like the music today? Like, I don't understand what's happening.
It was so good. I
loved it.
It was such a great way to like, things are tense down in the tunnel sometimes, right? And we're about to take the floor, and Dave comes in, and it was just comedic relief. Like, it was like the timing was just excellent. He walks in and gives this super serious talk, and we're all kind of like, no one's even listening to him. We're just staring at his head, and we're like, what the hell is this?
I actually thought they looked really good. But I liked
kind of pull it off, but
yeah,
it was just
totally.
it was such an aggressive hairdo. And the shift, because the day before he didn't have it, and then all of a sudden it was like he just showed up the next morning with cornrows. We're like, what have you been up to? Like, what did you do last night?
What was your evening like?
Yeah. So it was just awesome. So everybody, it dissolved some tensions down in the tunnel right before we did Murph, which was nice.
We had the Buttery Bros on, I don't know, a couple episodes ago. We haven't released it yet, but we had them on. And so we spent some time talking about, obviously, their documentary, and then Dave's kind of thin-skinned approach to your comments on it. Did it catch you by surprise? Like, I didn't think your comments were out of line by any stretch of the imagination, at least from what I heard. I thought they were, an athlete talking about the workouts. Did it shock you?
I would say so. When I watched the documentary right before Wadapalooza, the night before we were at the premiere, and yeah, I mean, I would say when I left, I thought I could have certainly made myself look better in that film. But I think that understanding kind of what's going on, the way that Heben Mars made that film, that was obviously a big storyline. And the changes and the consequences of the changes was a big topic of conversation. A lot of fans had things to say about it, a lot of athletes had things to say about it. So it needed to be addressed. And I think that being one of the athletes that they followed very closely and being a guy who got cut, I had a lot of interview time with them. And so I was kind of selected as the personification of this, disapproval of the changes, say. So, all of my interview coverage was sort of cut into a way that made it look like amplified basically the points that I was making, which I get. And I think that I've actually had a lot of athletes and spectators or people message me and say that they're happy I did that and they agree and whatever. And it was nice to have that voice in the film. On a personal note, I mean, nobody wants to be a complainer, and you'd rather show yourself a certain way. It doesn't look super professional, but I kind of agree. I think that it is important. And I think that for a sport that's trying to constantly improve, and for a competition that's trying to, especially in the middle of a big sort of rebuild, that what they want to improve and build on that and, put on a good competition every year, like an objectively good competition. I think that, you need to be able to take criticism and do something with it. And I understand there's a difference between just like bitching about stuff and being actually having constructive criticism, which I think that a lot of the comments that I have were constructive in certain ways. And I actually spoke with Dave at the after party of the games in 2019 and talked about a bunch of the stuff. And, I understand the pressures that they were under from HQ and under some of the changes that were fairly forced. So I get it. I fully get it. And, we had a conversation and I understand what he was dealing with. And, it was funny to me that obviously now with the film being made privately, not with, CrossFit controlling it at all, I think that they maybe would have omitted some of that stuff. But now it's there. So Dave, when he saw it, is sort of like, well, can I get this clip and this clip and this clip, and like anything that kind of rubbed him the wrong way, he wanted to go, and in fairness to him, he wanted to explain his feelings on it, which I got to say what I said, so why not? But I do think that the way he does those things is very Dave Castro, and it sometimes comes off, in my opinion, as a little bit petty, but just given his position, it's not, he's like the commissioner of a sport. So when, if athletes are complaining about things or games or whatever in another sport, the commissioner doesn't come down and shit on the athletes and then pump it up on his Instagram. So it seems like a strange approach, in my opinion, from his position. But, I get it. And I think that also, to his credit, I think that what he was really trying to do is just in a time where there wasn't any competitions that were coming up, he was trying to generate buzz around this film and generate buzz around the sport, and do something productive. And the way that he does it is through his kind of character of the Dave Castro, and is being that dick. And I don't care. I don't hate Dave. And, he didn't give me a heads up on any of it, which I thought was kind of funny. Given that he kind of threw me under the bus in 5 posts in a row. So a lot of people thought I was in on it right off the bat, which I wasn't, but I understood what it was, and I get it. And I'm not I don't have hard feelings with Dave. I don't care. It did, at first it didn't even barely register. And then after a couple, I was like, is Dave trying to get under my skin here? Or make me backpedal, or what does he think is going to happen here? I'm clearly not going to do that. I'm just not the kind of guy that's going to do that. And I also still stand by all the things that I said. And I think that if I could have a conversation with anybody, I could at least convince them why I feel the way that I feel. But it was, so it was funny. And then, after a few, I started making my own little Dave Castro memes and things like that. And it was just I was trying to just have some fun with it. And same as Dave was doing, just generate eyes on that film and whatever, use our platform to generate some buzz. The only thing that was annoying about it was was just rehashing some of the things that happened. It was 8 months ago, right? don't care. Like, we're over it. Like, I've competed 3 times since then, and done very well. And it was just like, I don't really care about the like sled event anymore. Like, I could give a shit. But then all of a sudden everyone's like, whoa, like complaining about the sled, like as if I was just complaining about it. And I was like, dude, I complained about it for like an hour 8 months ago. And like, I haven't talked about it since. But like, and then all of a sudden everyone's bringing it back up. Right. And it's just like giving everything a second life. Like, and like, I don't know, like none of us wanted to talk about that again. Right. Like Matt and Brent and I, like, we're like we were just itching to like have another chance to rehash the 2019 games. We're like, dude, like, we're way over it, and we're trying to look forward to the next season. And it just, I feel like that kind of regressed us to a certain degree. But I don't know. It's just like, it's also just the position you get put in. Like, that's showbiz. I was talking to some people about it before, and like, that's what it is, you know, sometimes you come off exactly how you want and things could be better. And sometimes you wish you could go back and do things differently, and you're not exactly the guy in the driver's seat when they're doing those things. So you just got to be able to deal with it. And sometimes take one on the chin and just keep moving forward, and people are going to say what they're going to say. And I don't know. I like to troll those comment sections sometimes, but it's an ugly place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're really good at trolling the comment section, though. You're skilled at it.
Yeah, try to not get too much skin in the game. Just make a comment in there that's like, yeah, I saw it. I'm not taking this too seriously. Like, everybody relax. And then just get out.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think you came off as a complainer for whatever that's worth. I thought the whole thing was interesting, like just as a like kind of a casual observer of this, because I tried not to get invested in it. Like, people were like begging me, like, you gotta, create some memes on this, like do something on the whole fight. I'm like, it's not a fight. Like, this is David, defending his programming, and I get that.
Yeah, and I agree. He's defending his work, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
Like, and I wouldn't ever expect him to do anything otherwise. Like, the fact that in fact, in my opinion, the fact that he was defending it so harshly it means that he cares a lot, and it means that probably some things that were said really registered, and he knows that, and he's probably fixing things or trying to make sure that those don't happen again or whatever. Like, I'm sure he's not trying to put a bad product out, right? Like, it's just, that's not how these things go. And like, that's not how you make a good reputation for a competition over the long term. So no, I agree with you. I think that it was exactly that. It's just like, everybody's kind of trying to have their voice heard and defend themselves. And anyway, it's a bit annoying when it's like,
and I think that was fine.
Yeah.
But that's fine. And that's like the world we live in now, right? With social media, like, I'm only here for the comments and to read the comments anyway. Like, you said your piece in the heat of the moment, might I add, like when you were really feeling it at games, which I think people need to take into account. And your opinion is incredibly valid. And he programmed, I don't think he has thin skin or whatever. I think that he has every right to say, defend his position and say what he wants to say too. And then like, we just live in the social media world. When I saw it, I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, oh, these guys are like throwing jabs at each other, but they just have differing opinions, and it is what it is. And I think like Instagram blew it up.
It's
bigger
kind of
than
funny.
it was.
I sometimes feel like, like say for like Dave and I, like we've spoken DMs for a little bit too, like here and there. And like, I don't think either of us was that invested in it or cared that much.
Right.
But then you watch how things spin out of control, and like all of a sudden you get people like yelling at each
That's
other.
That's what I mean.
And you're like, holy shit, these guys care a lot more than we do. And I was like, all right, well, fuck, like, all right, I don't know how to deal with this. And you want to like tell people to just relax. Like,
that's what I mean. Is like, everyone's
cool.
got their opinion, and it is what it is. And I'm interested in what you have to say. I'm interested in what he has to say, and what other athletes have to say, and what other professionals on the CrossFit side have to say. And okay, cool. What's the next thing we're talking about? Like,
yeah, it's kind of funny. That's why comments are just a hilarious place to be. It's like, look, I know Dave. Dave knows me. You don't know either of us. Like, what are you freaking out about?
Yeah, seriously.
Well, that's the really funny part. The fans are the ones that just, they get so invested in you guys individually. And then they start doing the math on, well, if he hadn't stepped on this line, he would have finished 8th. And then after he finished 8th, he would have moved up to 4th. And they start giving all the little intimate details of every workout. And I'm like, Jesus, just let it go. Like, this was a season ago. Like, let's move on.
Yeah, but it didn't happen that way, and it's over, and like, whatever. Yeah. So what are we going to do? Like, and then guess what? And then I won the Open.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I went to Dubai, came second, went to Wadapalooza, came first. Like, the year has rolled on. Like, everything's fine. We're okay. You know, like the guys, like the people who got cut, say, and like had a tough games, you know, they've snapped back very well. Everybody's doing all right. You know, like Cole had a top 10 open, Brent won Dubai, Cole and I tied for first at Wadapalooza. Like, we're doing all right.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. It's cool. I appreciate everybody caring so much. It's very sweet. But like, we're all right. We're going to be all right.
They care about your performance at games. They care about your weird twitchy bicep. They just care about you, man.
Yeah,
they just care.
It's sweet. It's nice. But well, I'm okay. At the end of the day, don't lose sleep over it.
Good.
Because
Good
I certainly
advice.
won't.
Well, the last series of questions I got a bunch on was where are you standing with your career, chiropractic? Like, what's next in that field?
Well, I was working prior to lockdown. So I finished school in June and before the games in 2019. And then I didn't start working till like just after the new year. I kind of took some time, especially because I traveled a bunch in the start of the off season, and then I was in Dubai, and I just was going to be away too much for it to make sense. But as soon as we got back from New Year's, I started working at a clinic on the island called Island Optimal Health and Performance. And then, we shut down like a month ago, I want to say. It's like any other, a lot of manual therapy professions is just like you're high contact, right? It's high risk.
Right.
So there's now starting to be some talk about, phasing in certain businesses back as a provincial plan. So I think we're kind of in talks of being like mid to late May, with a bunch of additional safety precautions and limitations and things like that. But yeah, I've been working for a little while now, which is nice. I mean, it was nice to get moving and start doing that and build some momentum. And then, the whole shutdown kind of has spoiled that. So I've been trying to keep a little bit of educational content rolling in my days off. I had like I got a bunch of like seminar series lectures, because a lot of people are actually giving their content out for free for certain professions, just because nobody can go to conferences right now. So it's been really great, or they're giving really cheap online access to just like basically huge libraries of information. So I've kind of been trying to take advantage of that, and then do a little bit of head learning once a day, and then do a little bit of training every day. And that way,
and then do a little bit of puzzles and you're all set. There's 24 hours, right?
Yeah,
right
exactly.
Packed in there.
So just try not to come back and be totally brain dead, right? Because we're going to come back soon. And I'm not working full time. I'm just doing a few days a week for kind of like 5-hour shifts. So it's good. It's just enough to kind of keep your hands moving and keep your brain working, and make sure that I don't kind of lose or waste that education that I just got like for the last forever. So it's kind of, it's just a strategy to make sure I'm sort of keeping myself busy, because at some point my body's going to wear out and I won't be able to just do the fitness indefinitely.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't consider you guys that's an essential business still. Like here, all the local chiropractors are still working. Like, they just treated them like.
It's like province to
see,
province,
that's kind of a hot, state to state. That's kind of a contentious topic, I would say, because you shouldn't be an essential service. Like the argument that they will make is you could see like emergency patients, and you seeing patients is going to keep people from going to the hospital. But that's just not what the hospitals have seen. Like even locally here, since they've reduced flow through the hospital and kind of prepared things at the hospital to handle a bunch of COVID patients, every single wing of the hospital pretty much is operating at less capacity than normal. Like the emergency department's operating at like 50%. Because when people are on quarantine, like they aren't going in for anything. They're going in for only serious things. And so do we see emergency patients? Like as a physiotherapist or a chiropractor, like, are you dealing with emergencies? No. If you have an emergency that comes into your office, you send it to the hospital. So if you're closed and those people are just going directly to the hospital, it's great. Like we're doing some telehealth stuff where I've been keeping in contact with certain patients who were either like in an acute stage, who maybe needed more work at the time. So I've been able to give them homework or get updates on what their condition is. I would argue that we're definitely not an essential service just because of that. So the main argument is that you would reduce flow to the hospital, but the hospital right now where we are is more than equipped to deal with a bunch more volume. And so what they've seen is those people are just staying home. They're not going to the hospital. So anyway, it's kind of contentious because I think that the people who are staying open probably shouldn't be, because what are we doing? Like you're touching people, like
Right.
people are laying on the tables, they're sweating, you're working around people's faces, like you're doing, and you can sanitize till you're blue in the face, but there's still a risk. Somebody touches the underside of the table, wipes their face, touches the bottom of the table. Like it's really hard to get everything. So I think it's just like, it's better safe than sorry. At the end of the day, if an outbreak happened and it got traced back to your clinic, it's pretty hard on your business reputation. And I think that as a profession that should be focused on keeping people healthy and sort of focusing on the patient first as a priority, what's the balance? Is it like, what's the best, if the government and every health organization, their recommendation is to like stay home, create distance, quarantine yourself, who are we to be like the best thing you could do as a community leader and a health leader is tell people to follow the instructions being given by the World Health Organization, like cite the CDC, like just repeat that stuff until you run out of breath. And then like, that's what we should be doing, is supporting the things that are already being done in that way. And then, when it's safe to, yeah, of course, implement like a little bit of a return to work kind of protocol. But I don't think that it really needs to be, based on kind of what we've seen.
Well, between the table and the touching and the sanitizing, your job sounds a lot like porn. I'm just saying. A lot like porn.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Well, as long as we know you have a career after CrossFit, so.
It's great.
That's right. One or the other.
Oh.
But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of always been the thing, is kind of keep doors open for when I just can't do it anymore. Or I'm like that day where I just get in, walk into the gym, and I get on the assault bike and I just go, you know what? Nah.
Also.
See, Nikki, I don't have to give the dad speech here.
No,
this is
you
great.
Don't. He's very smart. Smart business acumen.
Oh, dude, I've been giving tons of dad speeches to all these young athletes that have zero plan past doing thrusters. Like they have no idea.
Buddy.
Like all these gyms that are going to go out of business and nobody has a 401k and any money in savings, and it keeps me up at night.
That's all I've been doing with my CrossFit money, paying off student debt and then building investments.
Good for you. That's the way to do
That's all we do, and then building like a career for later.
Yep.
I'm a play it safe kind of guy. We joke about it all the time that my partner and I are very, like, this whole CrossFit thing has been kind of this jaunt, this side journey, but we've always been like you get the education, you get a stable job, take the steps to build stability. And I have a huge respect for people who, for everyone who says like, yeah, really follow your dreams, follow your passion. Like, I don't think there's a lot of people who really kind of jump out and do that. And like walk out on a cliff to do it. And like, we're not those people. Like, I think I really value stability.
Yeah.
And I like having that safety net, and it's something that is very meaningful to me. And so I worked really hard for a long time to be able to compete and still do school and build myself that safety net. And like, it was hard. But I did that, and I absolutely am going to use it at some point. And I think it's the smartest thing I could have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just like, I would say we're pretty like risk averse type people. We just,
that's fine.
Like I said, we laugh
Embrace
about
it. That's who you are.
We're pretty boring and vanilla, but we're stable. And that's fine.
Good.
People like vanilla.
10 years from now, when the Buttery Bros are doing their documentary, Where Are They Now? You won't be the one living in a cardboard box. So
yeah, I like to think so anyway.
Perfect.
We'll see how COVID treats everybody, but
yeah, well, fingers
the
crossed.
The economy is in shambles. We're all going to be in boxes.
True.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how many more weeks this thing lasts. Fingers crossed we're getting out of these houses soon. But
yeah, I mean, hopefully things start to, you get the slow rollout and more businesses start to open.
Right,
and you just get like a little bit more of the turnout. But yeah, I think that there's going to be, I bet you there's some sort of limitations for like many months through the summer, I bet.
Yeah.
Like I said, like my wedding got canceled today. I had it set to be married on August 15th, and that got canceled. The venue canceled it today. A lot of big, there's big outdoor festivals in July and August around in like Alberta, places like that. And the government's canceled all that stuff, saying like, hey, this is not going to happen. So they're all kind of saying large group gatherings are not happening until end of August or into September. So, and businesses could certainly be open and operating, but it's just like those big gatherings, right? Like there's still just going to be some of those limitations. And hopefully as we kind of, things develop so day by day with this stuff that like, hopefully as we learn a little more and we get a little better and a little smarter, that those timelines change. It would be amazing. But yeah, I think you're better off to expect the worst and hope for the best. And then, yeah, you won't be disappointed anyway.
That's a very risk averse statement to make.
Hey, right. So, you know, things like that, like, I don't know, for all the hollering about the games in Aromas, like, you know, I wouldn't personally, I'm not expecting it to run. If it runs, awesome. If it does run, it's going to be very interesting to see how many athletes can go, how many athletes the venue can handle. Like, they might have to do an online thing to cut it beforehand.
Yeah, or like even what's
that big, right?
What's the state allowing? Because then, you know, down here it's state by state. Like what
exactly
we might be.
And California is fairly conservative on that stuff, as far as I understand. So I think that, you know, there's just, you know, there's a lot of dominoes that need to fall.
Yeah.
And CrossFit doesn't control any of them.
Right. Yeah, I'm
So
with you. It's
like,
definitely a wait and see. I mean, I hope it happens.
Oh, 100%.
I hope they need sideline interviews, but like at the end of the day, it's so very much a wait and see game still. So it's fun to speculate, but I'm very curious as to how it's really going to shake out.
And all that stuff for me, like, you know, it really sucks, like the wedding thing, like the games, like the state of everything right now. But I'm trying really hard to look at it as like, this isn't like, it's not about us. It's not about like the CrossFit world. Like, this is it's not a time to be selfish. Like, this is a global thing, right? It's much bigger than what's going on with CrossFit or what's going on in my world. Like, so if at the end of the day, my canceled wedding keeps like one more person alive, like, all right, I can sleep on that. Like, I can deal with that. And an inconvenience is just that. It's not the end of the world. And like, I can manage that. So if things, you know, if the 2020 season kind of is a wrap, I had a pretty good 2020 season.
Totally. You like, definitely did.
That's okay. And then, you know, we'll start moving into 2021 and try to ride that into the next year. And
hell yeah.
And, you know, I don't think, like I said, I can hope for much more than that. But at the end of the day, if that's what it is, like, I have to accept it, and it's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. So we'll be fine. And then I'll be like, I'll be 30 into the next year and, you know, on my way out.
That's right. Calling it. That's it.
The golden years. Yeah.
Really? You just call 30 the golden years? Jesus Christ.
In CrossFit? Yeah, I think it's
well, maybe. Just I got the shoes I'm wearing right now are 30, so that works out for me. I do think one of the added, I don't know if it's a benefit necessarily, but like as a fan of the sport and having the opportunity to watch you guys work out, like I love going to the comps, I love seeing that, but it's been really fun for me during this to get to know all of you guys better as people than just athletes. Like, you know, not just conversations like this, but like seeing what other people are posting, and, you know, it's becoming more intimate, you know, and it's, I hope that the people that are fans of the sport are starting to learn what you guys are as people, not just the athletes that they follow. And, you know, I think that'll help the sport continue to grow, but we'll see. You know, we're also full of meatheads. So
there's
at the end of the day, all I do is I do up downs real fast.
Yep. Yeah. faster than the rest of us.
Yeah. So, but it's true. Yeah. I think that you're right about that. And I think that people are right now consuming an unprecedented level of, so, you know, athletes are kind of trying to take part in that. And I think to a certain degree, you know, like we're bored like everybody else. Right. And we just happen to have a slightly bigger platform.
Yeah.
So when people are posting their whatever they're doing in their kitchens or their living rooms, like, it's just, you know, you might be sharing a little bit more of yourself than we typically do when it's more, you know, training and sponsors and whatever. Cause like I said, we're bored like everybody else, which is cool. It's unifying.
Absolutely.
Right. Everybody's like, oh fuck, like he's bored. He's watching what is it? Tiger King? He's
Tiger King.
Yes.
So good.
So everybody, I think that you're right. There's it might give people a chance to relate a little more to the athletes, and and hopefully people still continue to do it. And it might give people a chance to get to know the people they don't know. You know, someone like me, even, I think that I've had a high level of exposure in the last few years. And, you know, people have heard my stories. So it's like, it's to a certain degree, it's like a little bit getting old. Like people are like, all right, sure. I got to come up with some new material. But there's a lot of athletes who don't have that. People who don't know that well, especially now in the era of the national champions and things like. So I think there's a couple platforms that have been highlighting some national champions, and I think it's like there's a fun chance to follow some people, and people are just creative and fun. There's some athletes who have YouTube channels for spinning out some fun content.
Totally.
Because they can't do CrossFit content anymore because nobody's doing a lot of CrossFit. Yeah. So anyway, you're right. We're starting to see people's hobbies and their dark sides.
Totally. That's my favorite part.
I agree, right? That's what's fun about people.
Apparently the Canadian dark side is puzzles. That's what we've learned.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah, you just wait. You should have seen the level of focus that was going on there. You'd have been like, yeah, that guy's a little off.
Yeah. Something tells me.
That guy, I don't know. He's a bit of a psychopath, maybe.
There you go. Well, Pat, this has been fun, man. We appreciate you being on.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me on. I hope you guys are doing well, staying healthy and safe, and
totally.
Keep your quarantine buddies close.
Well, Nikki's going to put on the sourdough 15, and I'm just going to be on the C2 bike all the time. So that's what we have coming up.
You're going to take off the 15.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, thanks
again.
again.
How's your dad doing, John?
Oh my God. He's so ridiculous.
Crushing it?
He's so ridiculous. He sends me this text today. Just this, like he just randomly texts me. I haven't talked to the guy in 2 weeks. He sends me a text, and all it says is, evidently the gym's been closed too long. I needed gas for my lawnmower, and when I stopped at the gas pump, a man pulled up with loud rap music playing. Before I realized what I was doing, I'd done 10 burpees thinking he was going to get on me for not moving fast enough. Like, just out of the blue. Like, he's just...
What?
He's just ridiculous. Yeah, he's working out at home.
So
my mom sends me a picture. They've got, he's got like a yoga mat down and a kettlebell and a ab mat, and he's doing workouts in the living room, and he's dropped like 40 pounds. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Good for him.
Yeah, and he feels great. He's moving better. His knee pain's gone. Like, it's not shocking to the rest of us, but he's like, my knees are better. And I'm like, yeah, you dropped 40 pounds. Like, it's a lot of pressure on your knees walking around all the time.
100%.
Yeah, so
good for him. And I think everybody kind of can relate with that. Like, we can't wait to get back into like a class setting or a group setting where like there's just some people around.
Yeah.
I mean, Michelle's very supportive, but like when I'm working out in the living room and she's kind of like knitting on the couch, it's just like it's not exactly the same vibe.
Same vibe. Yeah.
So
right.
You said the same thing, like it's a little hard to motivate herself to do like a workout. Just like she comes home from work and she's got to do it in the living room or outside. Whereas, it's easy to walk into the gym and just like shut your brain off for an hour and have the group around and everybody kind of lift each other up. So I think that, people are anxiously waiting for that. He's definitely not alone in that feeling.
Yeah, but he's doing
that's
great.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you asking. I know he's still loving it, and hopefully he can get back in there soon so he can get back to his group. He's like the mayor of CrossFit in Tupelo. So
nice.
Yep. All right, this has been fun, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And hope we got all the questions answered for everybody listening. If we didn't, we'll get them next time. And for everyone that tuned in, thank you. We'll talk to you guys soon.